You are now listening to the National Show with Gangsterville and McGee. The National Show, the National Show, the National Show, no show, no show. The National Show, the National Show, the National Show, no show, no show. All right, No Nation. This is the National Show with Gangster Vizil and McGee. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel, YouTube /@National. That's @NATIONOLE. Also, you can check out IG, X, and all of our links on our link tree, which is linktree /National Show. That's NATIONOLESHOW. And you can go straight to the source, national.com, NATINOLE.com, and check out all of our up-to-date shows, live feed. The latest show will be posted there, and then you can go to our YouTube and all of our sites, like them, share them, tell a friend, and spin us until the end, baby. So we are back.
Dude, you're a very good speller. Very good speller.
Might mess up a couple times.
I
may have came in second place on the spelling bee in third grade.
I was the worst at spelling. I was the worst. I did very poorly in spelling tests, all that shit. Also, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, bro. Kind of in the biz. All right, we got the best theme music of any podcast, streaming show, anything. In the media, in the game of all theme music, we have top tier. Yeah, top tier. Top tier, baby. How are you? Good?
I'm good, man. Good.
Happy you're not a Jets fan this morning?
Yeah, man. I'm still blown away about that, man.
Second day of practice or something. Third day of practice. They'll losing the quarterback. Just got carted off. So hopefully Justin Fields will be back soon. Hopefully it's not major. Hopefully it's just, they're being extra cautious early in preseason.
Right.
That's not what you don't want to see, that he got carted off, this early. But we're here to talk about college football, not pros, not the NFL. Not the NFL. Quick pro no report though, real quick. I mean, a lot of the sports, WNBA is on All-Star break. Like they come, our Connecticut Sun play again tonight. They come back and they're at home. It's LA Sparks. Hopefully, much better second half of the season than first half. All right, 3 wins is not enough. Not enough. Need to make it 4 tonight. And then this past weekend was the Open Championship. We had two pro no's that were in the field. Brooks Koepka really doesn't seem to have his head in it. Doesn't seem to be all in right now. There's something going on. It could be he had a real bad knee injury or leg injury a few years ago. Maybe it's some sort of problem with that, or I don't know, man. But he's not playing well this year. He missed the cut at the Open. He and all the other guys from Live Golf are playing in the UK this weekend. Maybe gets back on track. I don't know, but it's been really bad the last few months for our guy. I hate saying it. But it is the truth. Also, Daniel Berger was in the field. He actually, tied for 30th. That's not bad. Open Championship. Made the cut. He got a big golfer check. And he's taking this weekend off. A little deserved vacay. And then our dude, Luke Clanton, who was not at the Open Championship last week, he just teed off. I don't even know how he's doing yet. He is at the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities. I don't know which of the Twin Cities it is in. I don't know if it's in Minneapolis or St. Paul. It's in one or the other, though. Yeah. And, that's about it. Also, real quick, before we get into, we talked about it last week. We're going to look at some of the other the other conferences for some national championship contenders and look at their odds for gambling, right? But real quick, I alluded to it last week. Bit of an announcement. We are putting the finishing touches on the debut merch drop for the national show. There's some dope stuff. There's some very dope stuff. My favorite is so you see how this is like a same color embroidery on the hoodie? We got a dope black on black national show hoodie coming.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. There's a lot. There's some really cool.
There's some really definitely getting that one.
This is the Montreux Jazz Festival Miami edition. Nice. Yeah, have complete faith in us. We got some very dope stuff coming. A couple T-shirts in this first little capsule, in this first little drop, our first foray into merchandising. We got a couple cool T-shirts. We got a hoodie, got a little tote bag, so you can take all your needed accessories out to the tailgate.
Nice.
We got all kinds of stuff, man. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be very cool. Got a coffee mug. Got everything.
Oh, nice. Hey, definitely gonna put that to use.
Yeah. Coffee's key. Caffeine is great, and I bet you will, because you're recording the show way early out on the West Coast.
Oh yeah. Got to get that cup in the morning.
Yep. Appreciate your hard work and dedication, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you want to get into it? Let's talk about some of these Big Ten and SEC teams. I'm not going to go through all of them, but let's talk about some of the ones that are legitimate national contenders, national championship contenders. There's a handful in both conferences. I was thinking, I tried hard to figure out if there's any team that's not in the ACC, Big Ten, or SEC that we even had to discuss this offseason. And I mean, maybe Notre Dame. Notre Dame as an independent, right there, you can get them at 13-1 on one of the gambling apps available in Arizona where you live. But I was thinking about the Big 12. I don't see Kansas State or Arizona State. Even if they win, they could be undefeated. They could win that conference. They can be in the playoffs, and it'll be a great year. I mean, in a perfect year, could Arizona State go hard and maybe even make the national championship game? I don't see it. I don't really see it. But I see them getting into the play. Right, obviously, having a great conference run. But I couldn't picture it. So, it's really just those three conferences that even have someone to consider. I feel like.
Yep.
So, let's go. Let's talk about this Big Ten. Obviously, we're obligated as part of the Bet Your Ash podcasting network. We got to talk about Nebraska, right? Got to.
All
right. We Florida State took their defensive coordinator, a couple of players, but they have a great coach. They've retooled a bit. I know Husker fans and the hosts of the Nebraska Hour, Timmy Nebraska and Brock White, they are high on the Huskers going into the season. They've been getting better, a little bit better every year, but they're not legitimate national championship contenders. I don't know. But if you want to roll the dice, they're plus 15,000. You can get 150-1 on your money. All of a sudden they get hot, forget how to lose. Maybe. The other long shot in the Big Ten that I was, I even looked at the odds for was USC at 120, or I'm sorry, at plus 12,000, 120-1. I just don't think they're all the way back to the USC of old yet. They're still kind of getting used to the Big Ten too. I sort of. That's also one of the fun parts about getting ready for the season is you get reminded who's in what conference, because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that whole USC and UCLA and the Big Ten thing. UCLA is interesting with the Tennessee transfer.
I was about to say, that's I don't know, man.
It's an interesting story. It's an interesting story, but I don't view it as a national championship threat.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Now,
because I think they'll be a wild card as far as playing through the year, getting into the
Yeah.
playoffs, but after round 2 of the playoffs, I feel you.
That's the thing with the expanded playoffs. You're making it much harder for the non-power conferences to produce a national champion because you're giving more spots to the SEC, more spots to the Big Ten, more spots, really to those two conferences, and it's making it much harder for anybody else. Much harder for the lower teams in there because there's going to be 3 SEC teams. They're going to have to play maybe 2 of them just to get there. It's tough. So yeah, USC, Nebraska. I just don't see UCLA making it. Yes, making the playoffs. Yes, and that's a whole separate conversation. Whole separate odds. You can bet just to make the playoffs, and that could be a lot of fun if for a lot of teams. In fact, that's probably a great bet for us as Florida State. We're probably getting a pretty good number. That might be a very good bet for that. Well, we'll talk about that one off air, and we'll compare what number you get in Arizona versus what number I get in Florida, and we'll figure it all out. It's really important. Everybody check every available option here, because as I did this research, often it was like one book in Arizona was giving a much better number. Rest of the top tier of the Big Ten, we got Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. All right, those are the 4 teams to take seriously as far as the national conference threat or national champion threat. Michigan being the longest shot of those 4, coming off a bad year, kind of a retooling year, rebuilding year, whatever you want to call it. You can get them right now on one of the books at plus 3,000, so 30-1 that Michigan gets their act together and makes a run at it. I don't know. I don't have that much faith in Michigan. They're probably a year away from being a year away or whatever, but they're definitely on their way back, and they're going to be back in the conversation soon. I do take Oregon seriously.
Always.
They were solid last year, and that was a tough playoff game for them. That it was crazy that they had to play Ohio State twice, right?
Right.
That's a tough ask to be that team specifically 2 times.
Yep.
Oregon's 11-1 to be national champions this year. They don't stop in recruiting. They do okay in the transfer portal too. And this is
got that money from the NIL, so they're gonna make it happen.
That might be something to consider at 11-1. That's a solid return on your money.
I feel like it's the safest bet. Oregon and Penn State, I say, or whatever.
Penn State, you can get it 8-1 plus 800.
Yeah, and I would probably take Oregon over it. Ohio State, I'm kind of iffy on just with all the coaching changes that they've had. They lost both of their coordinators, I want to say, offensive and defensive. I know they lost
Chip Kelly. I know they lost Chip, right? He's in Vegas with Pete Carroll and Tom Brady, and what a dinner out that what a dinner out that must be.
Right. Pete Carroll,
the waiter's sitting there learning more about football than anybody in the world, Like, that's crazy.
They might well just add Ed oregano over there for some sauce. With extra seasoning.
That's an interesting dinner party. I'm not taking Ohio State that seriously this year. I just think that they have they go through what Michigan went through, maybe not to the same extent, but they lost a lot of pieces, right? And that's what triggers those rebuilds, right? Michigan lost a lot after the national championship, including their head coach, and they had to bounce back. I think we're going to see Ohio State do that to a degree. But Oregon and Penn State.
Both of their running backs, Ohio State, to the draft.
Yes, they did. Both Oregon and Penn State, I feel like, are bets worthy of consideration. You can get Oregon at 11-1. That's a nice number. Getting Penn State at 8-1, I think their roster is going to be a level up from last year. They are taking the new vibe of college football very seriously, and they brought in a lot of people. What they've done is kind of brought a lot of the Pennsylvania guys back. They've done what we talked about SMU doing, like bringing all the Dallas guys that went to other schools back. Penn State sort of went out and be like, hey, you should have stayed home. Come here, we can match that. We got a little extra. I'll tell you what, we got a little extra. Come on home, and it's working out nicely. The SEC, little deeper though. In the SEC, there's a solid 6 teams to consider. Florida, though, being number 7 on my list. Florida at 45-1. That seems like a way too big of a number, right? Way too big of a number, because they are a team that if it all works out, if everybody rises to where they're supposed to rise to, and everybody syncs up, they could get hot and they could have a great year. And if they have a solid regular season, if they have an undefeated regular season or a 1-loss regular season, they're going to be confident enough to enter that playoffs without, and not be scared of anybody.
Yeah, man. I know there are rivals, so I hate speaking highly of them and stuff or whatever, but I'm a realist and I'm going to be blood raw with it. Florida is looking damn good this year, man. I feel like all they have to do is stay healthy. They remind me a lot of our team the year before we went undefeated. Remember when we had that 3-game skid where we lost 3 games in a row and had to figure ourselves out. And then once we figured ourselves out, we, dominated towards the end of the season all the way into the next season. Well, the kind of same thing happened with them last year, where they had a couple of games that they stumbled and lost on or whatever, beginning the year or whatever, until they found their identity. And then once they found their identity, man, they were a force to be reckoned with. Like that Tennessee game went into like double overtime or whatever. All of their losses was very, very close. That quarterback that they got is looking hella dynamic. And now he's went out and recruited transfers and incoming freshmen to retool what they got or whatever. Biggest question mark for him, I feel, is going to be defensive line. They lost that big plug, the big 400-plus pounder on the D line that Tampa Bay got.
Yep.
but yeah, that's the biggest question that I have for them or whatever. But even that, I feel like they got enough offense to stick with anybody. And then outside of that, you look into the environment of the SEC. A lot of these teams are not as dominant as they were 2 or 3 years ago. Alabama, Georgia, even Tennessee with swapping their quarterbacks with UCLA. Yeah. Like that kind of really leveled the playing fields, and in my eyes, kind of shifted it towards Florida in their favor to have a good year this year.
You brought up Tennessee twice. Do we? Are they any real threat to make a run at anything? I mean, last year they were nice, but like you said, quarterback change, etc. 6,000 plus 6,000, 60-1. I mean, that's a nice payoff if they break through.
Don't write their coach off. I feel like he's one of the most underrated coaches in the NCAA or whatever, especially as far as an offensive genius or whatever. He just don't write him off, because I've seen him do a lot more with less. I just don't feel like he has enough to, push a national title or, right, go all the way there. Like he could win the SEC and then Florida could still end up winning the national title, or, Georgia, right, or somebody or whatever. So,
yeah. 6,001. It's tempting, but I feel like Tennessee is sort of in the same boat Florida State is, where it might be a much more realistic wager to bet them to make the playoffs. And it's still going to get a solid payoff, So, in fact, that's another one I'm going to look at after the show. You talked about you brought up Alabama, or you mentioned them briefly. You can get Alabama right now at 13-1, plus 1,300 on a specific book. I feel like that's a little low. That's kind of people betting the brand name, I guess, or piling on because the brand name. But we talked about it, man. They're bouncing back. We've actually talked about it the last 2 episodes. They're definitely going to be better than they were last year, because when has Alabama been that bad? It happens once every 15 years, right? It's not like it's not going to be extended. It's not going to be this long, dip in productivity from that institution, right? LSU, decent number on LSU, 19-1. If you think or plus 1900 on one book, if you think Brian Kelly can kind of put it together and lead them, I think LSU fans are probably a little more. I mean, I know they're rabid. I won national championships every year, but I bet you if they can make the playoffs, LSU would be very happy, with that.
Oh yeah,
maybe get a playoff win. Now that there's multiple rounds, getting a playoff win is a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They got some consistency at the quarterback position with their QB, so that'll help them out a lot. I don't know if their roster is tooled enough or whatever, but between coaching and the quarterback position, you over halfway there.
And with young guys, once you start winning, momentum. Whoa! momentum is a real thing. You know what I mean? With the young team, right? You forget how to lose. We talk about it all the time.
Yep.
Ole Miss, do we have to take Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss seriously?
Nah. Didn't they lose their quarterback in the draft? Who was it, Dart or something or whatever? The quarterback last year.
Yeah, Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
As I fixed my studio.
Yeah.
Rebuilding the studio on the fly.
That's funny. So yeah, I would give them a rebuild year this year.
Lane Kiffin's a great coach, and it wouldn't surprise me if he had two more Jackson Darts just chilling, waiting for their opportunity to hop out there. He might have had a little stash of Jackson Darts. So I wouldn't put it past Lane Kiffin to suddenly be in the mix at the end of one of these years, when we don't really expect it. I feel like Lane Kiffin is sort of overdue for.
I think in order for Lane to win a championship, he has to get the right defensive coordinator, because that's always what ends up getting him. He'll have the best offense in the world, right, but that defense can't stop oil from leaking, Yeah. So I feel like even if they have the top tier offense, that's where the other teams are going to knock them out in the playoffs or whatever. They can't stop.
Yeah, once you're playing against the other best offenses, it's you gotta have something on the
right.
Defense. All right. Well, that brings us to the two teams that are probably the first two teams mentioned by everybody, when they're talking about the national championship this year. That's Texas and Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. Georgia is plus 800. I think that's a good number. It's only available at one book. That book happens to be in a branding deal with a certain TV channel on cable, and it is available in Arizona. I specifically looked at all the numbers in Arizona because that's where you are. In Florida, there's one legal option. One legal option in Florida, and that happens to be Hard Rock.
Word.
That doesn't seem fair, but it is what it is. It seems monopolistic. But so Georgia plus 800 and Texas plus 600. They and Ohio State have the lowest number in the country. Thoughts on those two? Are those let's start with Georgia. One at a time. They both deserve
Georgia, just too many question marks for me, man. I know they are retooling athletic wise across the boards with offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, and such or whatever. I just don't know if they're doing it at the rate they were 3-4 years ago, where they had 8 NFL players amongst the defensive line.
Harder now with other teams.
Right,
Other
with
teams got NIL
NIL
money
and
too.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I don't. That depth is what I think is going to keep them from pushing to a national title. That
Also,
plus the
it's the
fact
same
that
thing that hurts Alabama now. Like, it doesn't make sense for me as a 4 or
Mhm,
5 star athlete to be a third,
mhm,
to play my freshman and sophomore year as the third on the depth chart anymore, even if I
mhm,
am in practice against all the best guys, because I'm actually being fiscally irresponsible. I now have
mhm,
the ability to transfer. I now have the
mhm,
ability to legally make money. And therefore, it is my responsibility to my family, to myself.
mhm,
You, as an athlete, you only have X number of years. And it's fortunate
mhm,
that college athletes now just got a couple of years at the beginning, added to
mhm.
that.
Yeah,
They only get a
yeah,
couple of years, man. They have to go get whatever they can get. So it no longer makes sense to be a third
yeah.
stringer as a freshman on any team
Mhm.
when you can get a bag. Even if you got to go to the Big 12 or you got to go to a different conference, you can still make a
Yeah,
couple hundred
yeah.
K. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
got to go make that couple hundred K or
Right, right,
50K
right,
or whatever. You got to get your best
right.
bag, man. That's your
Yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah. And with that being
So yeah,
said,
you're right.
that's
It has
exactly
hurt.
it. Yeah. Mhm.
Whereas we talked about how playoff expansion, like the that helps the big schools
Mhm.
way more than it helps the little schools. The way this is all structured right now with NIL and transfer portal, it
Mhm.
definitely helps the other schools, the non-branded
Mhm.
name schools. Now, those schools might have more resources, but
Mhm.
it, cats got to get paid, and they're going to go elsewhere to get it.
Right, right. That's the point right there, man. And then another big thing with Georgia is the quarterback position. When old boy went down last year,
Beck,
for one,
Carson
yeah,
Beck.
yeah, one was it? No, it was the
No,
guy
it's
that went
the
to
guy that
the
he's in
dude that went to
Miami now.
Miami. Yeah, yeah,
I forget his
yeah,
name.
yeah. But
It's
when
not
he,
Carson Beck.
yeah, it's definitely not Carson Peck. But when he went down, the quarterback that they had put in to replace him, he didn't show me anything, bro. If I remember right, he couldn't even throw the damn ball good or whatever. And then they lost Jalen Rashado, who was a dual quarterback that's been in like 3 or 4 different schools or whatever. The one that's suing Florida or whatever, he transferred out. So all they have, well, the best quarterback they have is what we saw last year. And I'm not impressed with that. So, yeah, yeah. I
His
don't know
name's
about
Carson Beck.
Georgia. It is Carson Beck?
That's it.
Well, I'll
He's
be
at Miami
damned.
now.
Oh, okay. Well, damn. I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
There's the
Yep,
thing,
that's
man.
him. That's him.
A lot of the Georgia. I don't know. I don't know if I should say this on a microphone. That's plugged in. The fact is, a lot of the Georgia quarterbacks, they're easy to confuse for one another.
Yeah, except for
You know what I'm saying? They're
there's
easy
only
to
one that stands out.
right.
But the one for the Rams or whatever. But he played with Georgia fucking forever ago.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I get
Stafford.
you. All of Stafford, yeah, but I feel you. All of these, the last like 3 or 4 quarterbacks, is just like the same guy, but
Interchangeable.
just right.
Interchangeable, right? It's always just
Right.
kind of the same guy. So I
Right.
say that to set up this. Yes, that kid didn't look great last season when he had a chance. That doesn't mean he's not going to look way better this year with a full off season of starting reps, with other starters, with improved, teamwork, etc. Or I have faith that Georgia, if they recognize that he isn't the guy, that Georgia is capable of hitting the portal and finding the right guy, or identifying who the talent is in their quarterback room, or adding to that quarterback room in some way, to replace him with somebody competent. That's all they need, is a competent quarterback, because they still have a solid offensive line, and then they still.
But look at what they lost. They lost that tight end last year, bro.
Yeah.
And that's been their
That's a big loss in college.
That was their safety blanket for like the last 3 or 4 years. The man
Yeah.
put about 2 quarterbacks in the league.
A tight end is a young quarterback's best friend. Young quarterback's
Yeah,
best friend.
yeah.
We talk about it all the time, man. That's your dump off guy. It's your extra blocker, and it can be a weapon nowadays.
Yeah,
because
not to mention that
offensive
backfield they got isn't as dynamic as what they've had the last couple of years. Like they're really that NIL is bleeding the team to where they're not like stacked. Like I remember at one time they had 3 starting running backs.
That's right. Now they're
you
diluted.
remember?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that like if they had a super dynamic quarterback that could make up for that I would be like, okay, cool or whatever. That's what I was looking at last year with Rashada being on their roster or whatever, but he must be trash because he was second and on their depth chart and they skipped him and went to the 3rd string guy to start in the game when old boy got hurt or whatever. That's how I knew Rashad was either trash or some shit going on behind it we don't know
or
about.
There's an injury, something we don't know.
Oh no, he was healthy. It was just something off the books or something, they ain't talking about or whatever. Coaches, know or whatever. But I feel like either they need a dynamic quarterback that can make up for the loss of talent, or they need more talent than what they have on offense right now. Especially to compete in the SEC, man, because that just good enough isn't going to do it, right now or whatever in this environment. So yeah.
All right, well then let's talk about the team that you and I both take very seriously, the Texas Longhorns. It seems the more that we have talked about the national championship picture between last week and this week, the more I like Texas, the more I feel confident in Texas. I felt good about them the last few years. They've been at the top. They've been, at the top of their the class. They've been up in the mix for the last few years, but it seems like they've been able to keep improving. They got to excellent and then kept improving on that. And one of these years is going to be the culmination of all this work, of this move to the SEC, the prepping. This started years before. You know what I mean? Like for this. One of these years, it's going to pay off, and it very well could be this year. I mean, I have the best argument for them of anybody else going into the season.
Oh yeah. I say old ball coach said something last week that really got me thinking about him. Because I was thinking like, what downside do they have? What is a factor that maybe could work against them? And he said something that really made me think about Arch Manning. And when I say old ball coach, I'm talking Steve Spurrier. He was I don't know, man. Some youngsters out there, I don't know, but he said if he's so damn good or whatever, then why hasn't he started yet or whatever? And that really, really, really opened my eyes to some stuff, because I'm thinking situation closer to him in Florida when Tim Tebow came in as a freshman. Even though Florida had Chris Leak, a proven quarterback, I want to say he was a senior his freshman year, he still got playing time and was pretty much like a co-starter or starter, versus Arch Manning sitting 2 years behind Quentin Ewers, who in my eyes he's okay, but it's like if you're that quarterback,
he's better than Chris Leak.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know about that, but
I think he's better than Chris Leak. But we'll see. Nah. I think a lot of that was Texas feeling like, we can even win. We can win with our guy, and if we stay loyal to him, it's a good look for our organization, our reputation. And Arch Manning is a stand-up kid from a stand-up family, and he gets that, and he is able to say all the right things and be a part of it and prepare. And if it was any other 2 quarterbacks, they probably wouldn't have run it the same way they ran it. But with those 2 guys, I feel like they felt they had a chance to win the national championship with Quinn Ewers last year. I don't know, but Arch Manning as a sophomore versus Arch Manning as a junior, it's a different conversation. Year older, year stronger. At that age, like just arm strength, every year to year, and being able to hit the ground and get back up. It also might have been in Arch Manning's best interest to wait that extra year. So there could be a lot of reasons for him.
That was just something that made me think. Yeah, that was something that just made me think. But with that out the way, I see.
So you're saying that the one weakness Texas has is that Arch Manning isn't proven.
I wouldn't even say it's a
to say about
weakness.
a team because
I wouldn't even
is
say
their
it's a
gem.
weakness. It's just a question mark for me,
Right.
more than
It's the
anything.
only
Just a
one.
question mark or whatever. And who knows? It may get answered first game of the year when he steps out and throws for 400 plus yards and runs for 50 plus or whatever. You never, okay, all right, whatever. You never know. And it could be everything that you said or whatever, where Manning is a stand-up guy from a stand-up family. They probably, and Ewan, I want to say he was a transfer anyway. So it's like, hey, we got you to transfer here. Probably gave him the bag too or whatever. So it was like, and I runs like a business. He's getting the money, the start money. So let's let him start or whatever. I get that. But outside of that, yeah, Texas is looking tough, bro. They got the offensive line. They have revamped, like you said. You said it best. This has been a couple years in the making. I remember when they revamped that defensive line and got everybody coming in, and they've just been funneling people in year after year after year. Every time they lose talent, they get 2 more on there or whatever. Yeah. They got the specialty positions, and they got a seasoned quarterback. Seasoned legacy quarterback. Yeah. So this is not only a team that's put together on paper, but it's also a good story going in, man.
And
so
just to put all that together, we talked about how hard it is to have multiple guys at a position.
Mm-hmm.
They now get to go next year, the following year, and when some good quarterback who's a freshman is like, "Hey, why am I not starting? I'm going to transfer." They're like, "Yo, Arch Manning sat. He respected the process. You can respect the process too. Is your money late? No, your money's on time. Sit there, get ready. Right. It's and treat it like a business. They now have precedent when they go to the next guy. Whoever's sitting behind Arch Manning, who's like, I can throw it just as far. Why don't you give me a shot? They're like, dude, you're gonna have a shot. It sets a trend, right? And that's important because the last thing you want is that position specifically, or any position on your team, to become just like turnstile, like cats just leaving, having to consistently bring in new people.
Right.
You're never going to get consistency.
Yeah, especially at the quarterback position.
What are we talking about? We're talking about you keep bringing up Florida. We've in previous episodes we talked about Clemson. We're talking about teams that have quarterbacks that are coming back, that are proven commodities that we know and we expect are going to get better. Just like we did, we knew Cam Ward was going to be a little bit better and a little bit better, like in previous years. Right? The question marks at quarterback are scary for any team, and if you can avoid that by having, even if it's just 2 guys in your quarterback room and knowing who the next guy is, like that's valuable.
Yep,
you see Texas doing it.
Yep.
Man, we're kind of on the same page here. Texas 600 is kind of a small number to tie your money up for half a year almost, or 5 months until you get paid, or find out if you get paid. But it's an easy bet to wager right now for me. I think Texas is the cream of the crop for sure. Just because I'm not as high on Ohio State, and I'm not as high on. You sort of talked me out of Georgia. I was interested in Georgia, but I'm less so now. Yeah, Oregon's scary though. Oregon's going to be, they're like Texas. One of these years, they're going to bust through. They're that good. They stay at the top of the charts.
Yep, and gotta watch out for LSU too, because they're always a sneaky dark horse coming in, man.
1900. I just had a conversation with a big LSU fan yesterday, and he's a good guy, and we were talking about LSU, and 1900 is a nice number. If you believe in LSU, that's a great wager to bet. That Florida, God, I don't want to bet it, but that Florida pick at 4,500. I think
it is.
You're on to something, Mike G.
I hate to, but I might have to.
All right, man. Well, listen, let's wrap this up. I gotta go get my hair and beard done. I'm way overdue. I'm looking like a mess. Every time I look down at the camera, I'm like, ooh, who's that guy? Let's play back. All right. The national show is co-produced with Broham and Be Yappin'. Bet Your Ash Podcast Network, BYAPN. And it's available as an audio-only product at betyourash.com or the Bet Your Ash feeds on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on there, thank you very much. And if you're watching on YouTube, also thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, actually. Please click that little notifications thing and make sure you're subscribed so you know when the shows are coming out, and tell all your friends, etc. We have all of our social media links available at national.com or on Linktree. It is /National Show, NATIONOLESHOW. I'm not as good at it as Gangstaville. There you'll find all of them, all the social links, everything you need. Also on Linktree, you can find Gangstaville. It is /GAINSTAVILLE. I got that one. Good there. On that page, you will find links to all of Gangstaville's social media sites and presence. Also, you will find links for all of his music on all the different platforms it is available on. You should go to all of those platforms. You should listen to his music on all of those platforms. Like it on all of those platforms. That is the best way to support your friends who make music. And Gangstaville is a great friend to have and to support. So I think that's everything. We mentioned the clothes are coming, the merchants and other stuff. The merch is coming. Okay.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Cool. Well, in that case, go Noles.
Go Noles.
And you have just finished listening to The National Show with Gangsta, Fizzle, and McGee.